Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to embark on a really fascinating mental journey. We're going to decode a mathematical mystery that honestly just completely bends how we perceive time. I mean, think about it. We deal with seconds, minutes, and hours literally every single day. But how often do we actually zoom out and look at time on a truly massive scale? Well, we're going to figure out exactly what a staggering amount of time looks like when we translate it directly into dates on a calendar. It's a pure numbers game for sure, but the result? It puts human history into this brilliant, measurable perspective. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the core question, our central riddle for this explainer. What was the date exactly 1 billion seconds ago? Or, if you want to be scientific about it, 10 to the power of 9 seconds. To solve this little puzzle, we're going to set our starting line to a very specific date, August 6, 2026. So if we fire up our mathematical time machine and travel exactly 1 billion seconds into the past, from that specific anchor point, where do we land? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is just the sheer, overwhelming scale of that number. Look at it, 1 billion. That's a 1 followed by 9 zeros. When we just say the words 1 billion seconds, it kind of feels completely abstract, doesn't it? Our brains just aren't really wired to intuitively grasp a quantity that massive. It's like this huge, intimidating wall of zeros. But, the real beauty of mathematics is that it gives us the exact tools we need to take this giant, abstract mountain of time and systematically chop it down into blocks that we can actually comprehend. So how do we actually start breaking down this massive quantity? Well, we do it step by step. We start with our massive raw number, 1 billion seconds. To actually make sense of this, we need to convert those seconds into days. So if we take our 1 billion seconds and divide it by 86,400, which, by the way, is the exact number of seconds in a single day, we get our answer. The result is approximately 11,574 days. Boom! We've successfully shaved off all those zeros. We've taken a completely unreadable number of seconds and turned it into roughly 11,500 days. But let's be totally honest here. Even 11,000 days is still a little tricky to visualize on a normal human scale. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why we have to take the math just one step further. Because 11,500 days is still really hard to picture. But when we convert that huge pile of days into years, we get approximately 31 years and 251 days. And suddenly the math just clicks right into place. This is a span of time we can instantly, intuitively comprehend. 31 years? That's a whole generation. It's a highly measurable chunk of a human lifespan. A billion seconds isn't just some crazy math problem with 9 zeros anymore. It's practically a third of a century. Let's move to and see how this builds out as a timeline. Starting from our anchor date of August 6, 2026, we're going to leap backward exactly 31 years and 251 days. Spanning that massive gap across the calendar lands us precisely on November 29, 1994. We did it. We've successfully navigated our way through all that math. We literally traveled from the late summer of 2026 all the way back to the late fall of 1994. And we did it entirely by counting backward 1 billion times. So the crucial point is we have our date. We absolutely have to honor the fine print here. This exact destination, it might actually vary by about a day, depending on the exact time of day you start counting. I actually love this little detail because it perfectly captures how the rigid, absolute exactitude of math eventually has to collide with the messy reality of the human clock. The math itself is flawless, sure, but whether you hit November 29th or, say, November 28th, that completely depends on what exact hour and minute you started your stopwatch on August 6th, 2026. Ultimately, this whole calculation reveals something pretty incredible about how we actually experience time. We've taken a number that sounds like it means forever, 1 billion, and realized it's actually just 31 years and some change. It makes a billion feel both incredibly vast, but also surprisingly intimate, doesn't it? So, using this anchor point, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to chew on today. Look back at that date of November 29th, 1994. Think about your own timeline for a second. Where were you exactly 1 billion seconds ago?